The air stank of spray paint and entitlement when I stepped onto my front lawn that crisp October morning. My solar grid sleek. Black panels glinting like obsidian mirrors under the dawn were smeared with neon orange scrawl. Eyesore. Remove now. The words screamed across my yard. A vicious wound on the tech I'd spent years perfecting. My chest tightened. A slow burn creeping up my throat. Karen. It had to be her. The HOA president with her manicured talons and a vendetta against anything that didn't scream suburban conformity. I could still hear her nasal voice from the last meeting. Sneering. Your sci-fi junk ruins our aesthetic. Ethan. Aesthetic. As if her plastic flamingos and tacky mailbox toppers were high art. I knelt beside the panels, my fingers brushing the cold, gritty paint. The damage wasn't just cosmetic wires dangled, sliced clean through. My stomach churned. These weren't just my panels. They powered every streetlight in Willow Creek. A quiet deal I'd struck with the city to test my renewable energy prototype. Karen didn't know. Nobody did. And now, her petty crusade had blacked out the whole damn suburb. The morning was too quiet. The kind of quiet that presses against your eardrums. No hum from the streetlights. No flicker of porch lamps. Just the distant bark of a dog and the faint crunch of leaves under my sneakers. I stood, fists clenched, and scanned the cul-de-sac. Her house squatted across the street. All beige siding and perfectly trimmed hedges. Mocking me. I wanted to storm over, bang on her door, and shove the truth in her face. But rage wouldn't fix this. Not yet. I dragged a tarp over the panels to hide the mess and headed inside. The scent of coffee still lingering in my kitchen. My phone buzzed texts from neighbors. Streetlights out on Maple. Power's down on Elm. What's going on? My jaw tightened. Karen's little stunt was unraveling everything. I grabbed my laptop, pulling up the grid diagnostics. Red alerts blinked across the screen. System failure. Power output, 0%. My prototype, my life's work, was dead in the water. A knock at the door jolted me. I opened it to find Mrs. Delgado, the widow from 2 houses down. Her gray hair pulled into a tight bun, her eyes wide with worry. Ethan, the streetlights me grandson scared to walk home from the bus stop tonight. You know how dark it gets. Her voice trembled, and guilt twisted in my gut. She didn't know about the grids, but she trusted me to fix things. Always had. I forced a smile, promised I'd look into it, and shut the door, my breath hitching. This wasn't just about me anymore. I spent the morning in my garage, tools scattered across the concrete floor, the sharp tang of metal and oil filling my lungs. The damage was worse than I thought. Circuits fried. Connectors snapped. Karen hadn't just vandalized. She'd gutted my system. I wiped sweat from my brow, the weight of the suburb's safety pressing down on me. By noon, I'd salvaged what I could, but it wasn't enough. The lights would stay dark unless I could reroute power or rebuild fast. That's when I heard Ida's sharp, clipped voice outside. Karen. I peeked through the garage window. She was on her lawn, phone pressed to her ear, pacing in her pristine white sneakers. Yes, I want it gone. It's a blight on our community. My blood boiled. She was probably whining to the HOA board, spinning her tale of righteous indignation. I grabbed my jacket and stepped outside, the cold air biting my skin. Time to confront her. Karen. My voice cut through the quiet street. She froze, phone still at her ear, her eyes narrowing as she turned. What did you do to my panels? She hung up, crossing her arms with a smirk that made my skin crawl. I don't know what you're talking about, Ethan. But if someone did tag your ugly contraptions, they'd be doing us all a favor. Her voice dripped with fake innocence, but her eyes gleamed with triumph. Don't play dumb, I snapped, stepping closer. You slashed the wires. You painted that garbage. You think you can just watch your tone? She cut in, her voice sharp as a blade. I'm the HOA president. I enforce the rules. Your experiment violates Code 17B, no unapproved structures. Take it down, or I'll have it removed myself. She turned on her heel, her ponytail swinging like a guillotine. I stood there, fists shaking, the urge to scream clawing at my throat. But then I saw a flicker of movement in her driveway. A kid, maybe 16, slouched against her SUV, earbuds in, spray paint can dangling from his hand. My heart skipped. Karen's son, Tyler. I'd seen him at HOA meetings. Always quiet. Always in her shadow. Was he her accomplice? The thought hit me like a punch. If he was involved, this wasn't just Karen's vendetta, it was personal. I didn't confront her again. Not yet. I needed proof. I spent the afternoon combing through security footage from my doorbell cam. The grainy video looping on my laptop. There 2:47 a.m. A hooded figure, small and wiry, creeping across my lawn. The spray paint hissed. A sharp, metallic sound that echoed in my headphones. Then, a glint of light caught the figure's face. Tyler. His eyes were wide, nervous, glancing back toward Karen's house like he was waiting for her approval. My stomach twisted. She dragged her own kid into this. The sun sank low, painting the sky blood orange. The suburb was already darker than it should have been, shadows pooling in the streets. I couldn't let this slide. I printed stills from the footage and marched to the community center, where the HOA was holding its emergency meeting about the blackout. The room smelled of stale coffee and cheap air freshener. The fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. Neighbors packed the folding chairs, their murmurs tense. Karen stood at the podium, her voice syrupy with fake concern. We're working with the city to resolve this outage. But we need patience. Bullshit, I said, my voice louder than I'd meant. Heads turned. Karen's eyes locked on mine, her smile faltering. I held up the printouts. You want to talk about the outage? Let's talk about why it happened. Your son vandalized my solar grids last night. Those grids power every streetlight in Willow Creek. The room erupted. Gasps. Whispers. A chair scraping the floor. Karen's face flushed red, her mouth opening and closing like a fish. That's absurd. You have no proof. I tossed the printouts onto the table. Doorbell cam. 2:47 a.m. Tyler. Spray paint. Your orders. Don't lie to these people. My voice shook. Not with fear, but with fury. The crowd leaned forward, eyes darting between us. Mrs. Delgado clutched her purse, her face pale. A man in the back shouted, "Is that true, Karen?" She sputtered, her hands gripping the podium. This is slander. Ethan's trying to distract from his illegal panels. Illegal? I laughed, bitter and sharp. The city approved them. They're the only reason our streets aren't pitch black every night. You didn't just deface my work, you endangered everyone here. I turned to the crowd, my voice steady now. Those lights keep your kids safe. Your parents. Your neighbors. And she destroyed them for a power trip. The room went silent. The kind of silence that hums with tension. Then Tyler stood up from the back, his earbuds dangling, his face pale. Mom told me to do it, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. She said it'd teach you a lesson. The words hit like a thunderclap. Karen's face crumpled, her bravado gone. The crowd turned on her, voices rising, demanding answers. I didn't stay for the fallout. I walked out, the cool night air hitting my face, the weight of the day lifting just a fraction. My phone buzzed texts from the city. They'd send a crew to repair the grids tomorrow. The lights would be back on by morning. I exhaled, long and slow, the knot in my chest loosening. Karen's reign was over. She'd face the consequences, maybe a fine, maybe a lawsuit. But more than that, she'd lost the one thing she craved, control. As I walked home, the first stars blinked in the sky, sharp against the darkness. Mrs. Delgado's porch light flickered on, battery-powered, a small defiance against the blackout. I smiled, faint but real. The suburb would be okay. We'd rebuild, brighter than before. And Karen, she'd learn what it felt like to be powerless.